These spaces may seem quiet, they may seem empty, but they're not. They're filled with knowledge, innovation, and a drive to find the answers to the world's most pressing questions. That is why the University of Pretoria works towards finding the answers that support communities in the fight against COVID-19. We contributed to the systems and protocols in Gauteng hospitals. We provide community screenings and take part in clinical trials. We are creating 3D printed face shields and developed one of the first real-time interactive COVID-19 apps. We do not know what the future may hold, but it is our responsibility to find the answers. These spaces are not empty. The University of Pretoria, a world of answers.
I hope you enjoyed the latest UPTV ad. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Naoma Kubedu, and I am your host for this wonderful UP School Leaders Conference. I just want to go through a few protocols once again. If you are joining us for the first time, I would like you to note that we will need you to kindly sign up on the page where you would be part of the electronic draw that will be taking place on the 2nd of November. So all you need to do is just complete the evaluation form. Let us know what you thought of the conference, as your feedback is very valuable to us. Another important thing is that please do communicate with us through our chat functionality. We'd like to engage with you during the show, as well as go on Twitter, #GearingUp. Our first speaker for tonight is Pastor Emmanuel Landman from Ilium Gospel Church. He is involved with student activation. He is a mentor and was part of the school counselor at Queen's College Boys High School in Queenstown. He will be talking to us tonight about managing conflict.
Good evening, family and friends and UP family. As you can see, we're talking about managing conflict tonight, and I'm ready for any conflict coming my way. I hope you are ready too. I've got a helmet on here for all the rocks you're going to throw at me tonight. I got some retaliation here as well, and if this doesn't work, I got a bow here too, so I'm ready for all of you, and I hope you're all ready for me. This thing doesn't want to pull lekker, so let's put it down there. And if nothing else works, I got my gloves on here. So tonight we are ready for conflict resolution. But you know, it's so hot, I'm just going to take the helmet off for a while. And these gloves are so uncomfortable. I've got to take that, and it's smelly and it's old, and I don't know who used it. And so I'd rather get rid of all this stuff, you know, because it's such a schlep to prepare for conflict. So I'd rather get rid of all this stuff and just make friends with everybody. Don't you think? Because carrying all this weight is such a schlep. So, thank you for that I got rid of all of that. But you know, I have learned over the years that if it wasn't for my wife, I would have been a great husband. You know, I've also learned over the years, if it wasn't for my children, I would have been a great father. I've also learned over the years that if it wasn't for my teacher, I would have been a great student. So out of those three things that I've mentioned to you now, I hope you've realized that we like to believe that conflict is always about another person. It's not about us. We always think it's another person's fault. It's not our fault. And therefore, we have this talk tonight about conflict resolution. So, conflict can be extremely exhausting, as you saw, carrying all this weight, making all the effort and all the trouble just to manage conflict or try to harbor even the bitterness and all of that. So that's why we're talking about this very important fact. Now, one thing that COVID and lockdown in South Africa has taught us is the most important thing in life is relationships. And if we're going to have relationships with other human beings, it's inevitable. We're going to have conflict. And it's wonderful that we're having conflict, because for all my life I tried to run from conflict until I realized it's all about you. Conflict is not about the other person, it's all about me. So therefore, conflict is all about us. I want to tell you a little story about a boy. And this little boy was sick at home, and his daddy was taking care of him while he was at home. And he was interrupting daddy while daddy is busy working. So this little boy kept on running to daddy, interfering with his work. So daddy eventually took a map, a world map, and he tore it up. And he took this world map and he gave it to the little boy, and he said to the little boy, "You go and put it all together." And the dad thought that was an excellent plan. This little boy is going to take the whole day and he can finish his work. 5 minutes later, the little boy walked into the room and with the whole map nicely pasted together. And his dad asked him, "What did you do? How did you do it? You're only 3 years old. How could you do this?" He said, "No, last week the map was lying here, so I drew a picture of myself on the back of the map. And so when you said I must go and put it together, I put myself together and the whole world came together." And that is the moral of the story. When we're involved in conflict, let's start by looking at ourselves and not look at other people. Let's look at ourselves, because conflict can be extremely exhausting if we don't take it on positively. So conflict is also what I call a character gym. We all go to the gym to get fit. We go to the gym because we want to have beautiful bodies, we want to cycle, we want to run, but it's difficult to get fit, and it's difficult to maintain fitness. So therefore, conflict is a character building gym, because once you're confronted with conflict, it's not going to be easy, but your approach to conflict is going to determine your end. And therefore, I used to run from conflict, but till I realized that conflict is an opportunity. So I always go back to conflict. So instead of running away from it, run into the opportunity, because it's an opportunity of growth, and it's an opportunity for character building, and it's an opportunity of getting to know yourself and find your identity. So somebody once said, Cheryl Richardson said, if you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside of yourself. I'm sure all of us listening here tonight, at some stage in your life, you had conflict and you had sleepless nights because you couldn't get that person out of your mind. So think about it actually, that person was staying in your mind for free and he has taken your sleep simply because you didn't manage the conflict properly. So conflict is an opportunity. So before we continue further about conflict and the facts about conflict, every person I speak to, I need to learn to listen. So this first point is listening is a skill. Listening is a skill. So learn to listen. Listen sincerely. So what do I mean by this? Listen sincerely. When I'm in the corporate world, I speak and I approach the corporate people like corporate people understand. So I speak their language, and therefore I'm wearing this jacket just to show you. And when I go and I speak to people in the academic world, then I dress like the academic people. I speak like the academic people. And that's why I got this shirt on. Bear with me as I undress. So when I go to the farming community, I dress like a farmer and I speak like a farmer. I have a potato language. I speak like a farmer. And ultimately, this is where my heart lies, because I'm an African, and when I mix with African people who are passionate about African, I speak the African language. So, my friends and family, as you are listening, we need to learn to listen and listen with all 10 our senses. All 10 of our senses. Now you're thinking, this guy doesn't have any senses because he says we got 10 senses. Yes, we got sight. And our sight is directly linked to our imagination. We got smell, which is directly linked to our conscience. We got hearing, which is directly linked to our memory. We got taste. With different taste buds, we have the ability to reason. And touch, of course, that we all enjoy, because if somebody touches you, you can feel if it's affection or not. So, listening is a skill, and I need to learn to listen with all 10 my senses. And then, something I've learned over the years was to ask questions. So there's my first point. Listening is a skill, and I need to learn to listen sincerely. I've got to listen with my eyes. I've got to listen at the body language. I've got to listen with all 10 senses. And if I don't understand something, I need to ask the questions. The second point I want to get to. Look at yourself. Don't look at the other person. Look at yourself. Understand yourself. Because understanding yourself will give you insight of other people. So once you understand yourself, you will also understand other people. Let's go of the power in your life. What do I mean by this? We'll get to the power and influence in the next point. But speak the language of understanding of the other person. Not your language of understanding, and don't try and force your language understanding of the other person, but understand the other person. So what do I say? Regard the other person higher than yourself. Somebody needs to listen, and why not you? So let go of the power. Let go of being in charge. Let go of trying to convince. Let go of trying to speak down to other people. Second point on point number 2. Are you trying to persuade or convince others of your point? You will never get it right if you are just trying to force it down with power. Therefore, influence is the most important thing. How do you win influence? By building relationship. And that's why we're saying it's inevitable. With relationships will come conflict. But let your purpose in conflict always be to restore and to build. So, point number 3, or shall I say 2.3, look at yourself as if you are wrong. So when you're in a conflict situation, don't come with a personality or an attitude that you are always right. Come with the possibility of being wrong. And come with an attitude that to apologize. I will bow down, I will ask forgiveness first, if need be. Because the value of my relationship is so important that I do not want to break it, but I want to build it so that we can get stronger together. Furthermore, let's get to point number 3. This is a very interesting point. Power versus influence. So in every conflict situation, we have this power versus influence. So power can be defined as the following. The authority to change the behavior of others and make them do things that they might not do otherwise. So in other words, the authority to change the behavior of others and make them do things that they might not do otherwise. Now the sad thing with this kind of power is it is forced. It is a top-down approach. It's not a relational approach. It is forced. Influence is defined as the ability to alter other people's perception and situation. Unlike power, influence makes use of positive language and subtle behaviors to encourage desired outcome. So influence is based on relationship. So power uses threats, punishments to get results. That is power, threats and punishments. If you don't go to your room now, you are grounded. You won't get pocket money. Those threats. I think some parents are identifying with that. Influence, however, uses positive affirmation, encouragement to achieve. How much pocket money do you actually get per month? Okay. Will you still get it if you don't go to bed? That is influence. You take it not with threats, but with influence, affirmations, encouragement to achieve your very best. The purpose of conflict resolution is always to build a relationship, to strengthen it, and to bring the best out of each individual. Power is not transparent. There's little transparency in power. In other words, exclusion from decision making. I'm the father in this house. I make the decisions. I wear the pants. Nobody tells me what to do. That's the kind of power that we refer to. And being a father myself, I had to learn that that is an old method that doesn't work anymore. I need to build relationship with my sons so that I can have influence and be a mentor, which they enjoy and which assist them. I used to continually tell my sons, you can trust me with everything because I'm the one that will tell you the truth. But, however, I had to show it in my actions. So influence is interdependent. It approaches relying on the collective genius. So let us all talk about it. Let's sit around the dinner table. The dinner table in my house used to be the most important meal of the day. Nobody sits in front of a TV. Nobody switches on a cell phone. We're all around the dinner table and we talk about the day. And everything that comes around that table and the mentoring and the encouragement, everything takes place around that table. And the jokes and the fun. And therefore, there's no compromise. Dinner every night, Monday to Friday, around the dinner table, we have all kinds of discussions. Power also favors a hierarchical instructional over conversations. In other words, I'm telling you, there's no conversation. I'm telling you what to do. We're not going to listen to you. I'm telling you what to do. So power favors that kind of instruction, authoritative, hierarchical position. Once again, as we can see, power is very negative. I remember when I was a boy, how my mother would always tell me the negative thing, expecting a positive outcome. And we know when you put negativity in, you get negativity out. So that doesn't work. So influence relies on maximum participation. I would, for example, take my children at a young age, put them around the table, and ask them, what do you think the rules of the house should be? They would come out and say, sleeping on time, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it was. And then I would ask them, so what would be the consequences if you do not obey your own rules? And I can tell you that children are more harsh with punishment than adults. So children comes out with, you can hit us with 10 lashes or things like that. I still remember that. The one day I took my son and I took him by the ear and I asked him, what is this? And he said to me, ornaments. And that took all my power away. You see, so power relies on maximum participation, involvement of all involved. Ultimately, relationships are founded upon love. And if we want to have strong relationship, we must love others more than we do ourselves, or love others as ourselves. So my behavior does not determine who I am. Listen to this, please. My behavior does not determine who I am, but who I am determines my behavior. So that what you think of yourself is going to lead to your behavior. I'm a person that loves to joke, and especially with people that don't know me, because they don't know what is happening in front of them. And that's the way I build relationships. Wherever I go, I try to understand the other people first, because that's how I build relationships. And here at UP and in Hatfield, my office door is always open. And I have every day a big round table in my office with at least 4 or 5 people sitting around the table coming to be part of the relationship. So I encourage you to build relationships, because ultimately what we have learned in COVID-19 is that relationships above all. So I want to ask you, when you're confronted with a conflict situation, do not react. Do not react. I want to ask you that you will rather consider your response. Let it not be a reaction, but a response. A conscientious decision. I was just telling the staff here that last week I went to the municipal offices and I was the last person in the queue. I was in queue number 3 at the bottom of the floor. I couldn't believe it. I was amazed. It shocked me so much, I was laughing all the way. And I moved from queue number 3 to queue number 2, from queue number 2 to queue number 1, and eventually 3 hours later, I walked out there with a big grin on my face, a big smile, and I met some people in the queue. And I had a wonderful conversation and wonderful relationships. So, choose your response. Listen to what Martin Luther King says. He says, love is the only force capable of transforming an enemy into a friend. Shouldn't that be our challenge every day? I remember working at school. It was always my aim, wherever I had a personality conflict with a student, because I am the adult, I would go and try and influence the student and change his thoughts about me without confrontation, simply building a relationship. And I remember my last day at school, one of the students that didn't like me said to another teacher, I just started to like him and now he's leaving. So influence is the most important thing. How can we win influence? So Mandela said the following, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it will kill your enemies. Resentment is like drinking poison and hoping that it will kill your enemies. And we know that this is very true, that resentment, bitterness is exhausting. We carry all this weight on top of us. It is exhausting. And therefore, let's rather overcome evil with love. Let's rather make friends with people. Let's rather have contact with people. It is all about relationships. It is the most important thing. I've never seen anybody on his deathbed talking about how much money he made or how many possessions, but each one talking about their relationships. And the same, when you become older like myself and the staff here, you realize that nothing is more important than relationships. So I want to encourage you to work on relationships. It is more fruitful, more energizing to build positive relationships than harboring bitterness and walking around with that weight. So with all this theory that I shared with you, I want to challenge you. I want to ask you, go into your community, wherever your community is. Go into your community and cross the lines, if I can put it ways, those barriers that you set up in your mind, in your paradigm. Cross those barriers. Go and meet people that you've never spoken to. Go and knock on doors that you do not know who stays there. At school, go and speak to students, especially if you're grade 12 or grade 11. Go and speak to grade 8s. Inspire them, influence them, because for them the world is still a huge mountain. So go and influence somebody. Go and build relationship. I also want to challenge you because it is a real character gym, like I said. So I also want to challenge you, go to a person that doesn't like you and build a relationship with that person. Influence that person. Convince that person through your mannerisms and actions that you are worthy of a relationship. I want to challenge you with these practical things. I also want to, especially in the context of South Africa, I want to challenge you to go to other cultures and other races and build those relationships. My office is open to anybody. And if you need any advice, any guidance, you are welcome. You see the number there. That because relationships are more important than anything else. So, as you saw earlier on, I was wearing the helmet, the rifle, it's a pellet gun, by the way, no danger there, a bow, boxing gloves, and all these things. But it's such a schlep, it's such a weight to carry upon us. And why do we want to walk around it? We want to be free like this. We want to be cool. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to enjoy every part of life. We want to even enjoy conflict. So go and fix it up. Especially those boys in grade 12. I want to encourage you to go make strong relationships with your father, because that's the toughest nail in your heart, is the relationship with your father. So I want to encourage you to go and build a strong relationship with your father. Go and take the lead. Maybe your father doesn't know how to build a relationship, and you are needed to help him in that. Maybe you must go and make a braai, go and wash the car, change the tire, do something to build a relationship with your father. And ladies, obviously, you got to go and build a relationship with your mother. And after all, you are just like your mother. So I want to encourage you to go and face the barriers of conflict and overcome them. Do not let conflict rule your life. Thank you for this moment together. My time is up. And I want to say thank you for this opportunity, for allowing me into your home. And my number, my details are there if you want to continue talking further about this subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Emmanuel. Our next speaker for tonight is Dr. Pieter Klaaser. He is the Senior Assistant Director under Recruitment at the University of Pretoria. Now, he will be discussing the importance of career guidance using the PACE Career Interest Questionnaire, which will help you to streamline your interest into the career that you want to get into. Now, what we're also going to do is that we're going to put up live chats. So you're more than welcome to put up your questions if you want. So it will be below the page, and Dr. Klaaser will be able to answer them after his talk. So he will be talking once again about choosing the right career. Dr. Pieter Klaaser.
A very good evening to everyone who joined us this evening at the third day of our first ever exciting UP Virtual School Leaders Conference. Thank you, Nayo, for the introduction, and I really hope that our future leaders also find a lot of value from what we have to offer. To the school leaders, boys and girls, I'm sure by now you realize that as leaders of your respective schools, you will be in the limelight since the day that you were elected as a leader up till the day that you will leave school after grade 12. People will see you as role models. The expectations will be very high, and people will look up to you. And I hope that from your side, it is also indeed exciting for you. Also regarding your field of study after matric, and that is what my topic is all about this evening. I believe that your friends at school will also look at you about how are you going to plan and go about to decide on a study program after matric, which is a crucial decision. I would like to start off with a rather grim statistic. You know, in South Africa, more than 50% of new first-year students drop out of university or tertiary institutions during their first year of study. So half of the first-year students that register every year got onto campuses with stars in their eyes. They drop out disappointed because of a variety of reasons. And from our side, we are very passionate also to talk to you about how to avoid this, how to prevent you from being in such a position. There may be many reasons for that. I must just add that at the University of Pretoria, we are very, very proud that the percentage is much less. In our case, it's less than 20% of our students, our first-year students, that drop out. But in my experience, I realized that one of the most important reasons why first-year students drop out is because they make wrong study choices. Why? And I believe you will understand what I'm going to say now. I think the biggest reason is because people don't do their planning properly and in time. They wait until they are in matric, and then suddenly they realize, oh my goodness, I must apply now because my friends are also doing starting applying now, and obviously I must do something. And then they grab the first booklet that they can get hold of, look at study programs, where do I meet requirements, and they submit an application, but they are not really interested in what they really would like to do. I also think that in the planning process, people start at the wrong end, because I realized I must pick a study program, and therefore they look at study program brochures. And they get to these names of programs, BAc Biochemistry, all kind of BCom Supply Chain Management, all these names, but they don't know where is that going to take me to. The other problem that we experience is that a lot of people are doing choices based on perceptions. They want to go for the glamorous jobs. They think it's the glamorous jobs. Those jobs where you can make a lot of money. And someone shout out, listen, if you become an engineer, or if you become a CA, you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to drive a Porsche. And then they go for it. Until they get at the university, and after a month or two, they realize, oh my goodness, no. If I have to do this for 30, 40 years after studies, it's going to kill me. But then it's too late, because you are already at the university. So there's too many people, way too many students who enter university making wrong study programs because they don't choose study programs based on their interest. And my session this evening is going to be very short but very practical. And there's also a practical exercise involved that you will do on your own. I also want to assist you and give you a way of making sure that you are going to do and to can make a responsible study choice at the end. Please take note that all our presentations will be emailed to you, so you don't have to take notes. The instructions, how you are going to about with this practical exercise, you will reach it or receive it via emails. Now, if you look at the challenges of studying, I just want to step one step back. You already started, whether you know it or not, but you already started with your planning in grade 9 when you did subject choices. Because at that stage, you had to decide in which kind of study field am I a scientific kind of person, or am I interested in humanities, and based on that you pick your subjects. I want to emphasize what Johan Klopper also said last night to you about obtaining high enough scores to get into the university. And I can't emphasize this enough. Grade 11s, there's so many students get into grade 12, excited to apply for the university, and then they can't get access because of their marks. Please make your academics at school your priority, while you enjoy all the other things that the school offers. But make sure that you get to your books. As you are going around or going further from here, time years application will be important next year. Being admitted to the university will be important. Not dropping out when the going gets tough. Fortunately, at the University of Pretoria, we are an institution of solutions. For all these things that I mentioned here, all these challenges, we've got solutions. And for quite a number of them, you got some answers yesterday already by being part or recommend that you being part of the Junior Tikkie Club. Because when you are in the Junior Tikkie Club and you are an active Junior Tikkie, we will be with you all the way. And we will take you through the whole process and make sure that you can get into a study program that's going to be the best for you. Now let's get practical. How do I make a responsible study and career choice? I've got 6 steps there. I'm just going to quickly go through there, but I'm only going to talk about step 1, which is, in my view, as a starting off point, the most important one. And that is to gather information on a possible career opportunity or career choice one day, before you even think about study programs. I always say, when I advise young people, forget about the study program for the moment. Don't break your head about that. Let us start with the career, because remember, you must be in a career one day for 30, 40 years after studies, where you are supposed to be happy in that career. And I think there's too many people waking up in the morning and just thinking, I hate my job. I don't want to go to work. And it's not necessary that it should be that way. Step 2 you heard about last night. There's certain requirements that you must meet, whether you're an IEB school, an NSC school, a Cambridge school, to get access to bachelor degree study. Step 3 you heard about last night, where you must have a look at the university-specific requirements or the faculty-specific subject requirements, APS requirements to get into the institution. And then also that very sensitive issue that was discussed last night with you about making that, I can almost say, emotional decision between mathematics and mathematical literacy, where we ask you just to be realistic when you get to that step. And I believe when you've done all these steps, then you're at a position where you can make a responsible study choice. And I will show you now why I'm saying that. If I can talk a little bit about the career, and that must really be your starting point. And fortunately, you are in grade 11 now, so you still have time. We always say, as far as possible, try to decide already in grade 11, by the end of grade 11, what you would like to study after matric. Your matric year will be full of academics, full of all your leadership responsibilities. Make sure, put some effort in now. There's still some time so that you can make sure, and in January or in next year, early next year, you can just submit your application. I'm very passionate when it gets to this thing about deciding on a cool career, because it's a waste of money, it's a waste of time if we end up in the University of Pretoria in the wrong field and you drop out. Now, how can I go about to decide on a cool career? Remember, that career that you are going to pick must suit your interest, your aptitude, your personality, your work ethics, personal vision, etc. Some people think it's very glamorous to become a psychologist, but they don't really like working with people. That's not wise to go into psychology then, because you are going to work with people. So, and parents, they must also please assist your children. You know your child. And often when we get to this, we have this thing that we have about degrees also. Some learners are not academically inclined. They are more practically inclined. But some people think if you don't have a degree, all the doors close for you. That's not true. Although we would love to have everybody at the University of Pretoria, where we offer academic degrees, at the end, it's about your child and about going into a field that he will be interested in, because then he will be passionate, he will be motivated. And I can tell you, people that are practical, if you take electricians, all those kind of careers outside there, practical careers, those are people that are trained to be employers, and they can start their business. They can just be as successful as people going into academic careers. But take this into consideration. The other thing that is very important for me, we get a lot of people at the university with a perception about a career. Why? Because they read, they watch television. Let me give you an example. Law. We've got 3 law degrees at the University of Pretoria, very popular. That's always the program that is also, applications usually open 1 March, not for next year, but usually. In April, May, that program is full. And I truly believe the reason is that because people watch TV. You've got all these interesting forensic programs, law stories, dramas, and they want to be this advocate in the courtroom defending these cases, and the eyes of the world is on them. Until they get at the university. Suddenly they realize 2 things. The one thing is, the majority of people going into legal or law studies never gets into the courtroom. But the television didn't tell them that. A lot of them are sitting behind tables doing administrative kind of things. The other thing that they realize is, before that famous advocate can get into the courtroom, his actual job is reading. So if you don't love reading, you are not going to be happy in law. And all those things you can find out prior to applying to a university by doing job shadowing. So important. But sometimes when we talk about job shadowing, people think, oh my goodness, I don't have the time to go for a holiday and work with someone to find out, or to try to find out what they are doing. No, not at all. In a conversation like this, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, if you are interested in becoming an architect, take the time, make an appointment with an architect, sit down with this person. Sir, ma'am, I'm interested in what you are doing. Just tell me, how did you get here? What are the good things about this job? What are the not so good things about this job? Girls, what are the challenges for a lady in such a career? In that way, that person will be honest with you, they will give you the facts, the reality, and then you will be able to decide, listen, I've got a wrong perception of this career. That is not for me. Or you can say, now I'm even more excited to go into that career. But by doing that, you can make sure. What I want you to do at home, we are working on, as you can understand by now, we are very much onto the interest of the learner. So when we advise students, like yourself this evening, we say take some time, let's do a career interest questionnaire with you, based on your fields of interest, I'm going to demonstrate to you, that will lead you to the careers within these fields of interest. And the idea will then for you to go and browse through these careers. Because boys and girls, I'm not sure how passionate you are about looking at careers around you, but very few people are. You know, you grow up in an environment, you know what your parents are doing, you know what your friends' parents are doing, you know it's a school principal, so you've got an idea about careers. And then you think, I must pick one of these careers. But in the meantime, the majority of careers are outside of the spectrum. You just didn't discover them yet. And from the university side, we would like to assist you to go and get access, to go and browse through those careers. Because once you know all these careers are in my field of interest, I've looked through all of them, and at the end I come back to this career, what I would like to do, then I will be happy. Because then I know you can't come afterwards and say, I didn't know about that career. So what I would like you to do is you go to this website, www.gostudy.net. That will take you directly to a questionnaire. Very simple, quickly, you're not going to take you 10 minutes. There's 105 questions that they ask you, and you just have to answer yes or no. Fortunately, it's not a test like you will have at school. So you just answer yes or no, and at the end, you will get a result of all your fields of interest that will look something like this. Now, this is just an example. Each person's graph will look differently. Now, this can give me a lot of information. And then you have to evaluate that, and then I will show you how this is going to take you then to the careers within this field that you can go and look at. Now, let's just look at this example that we have here. Just by looking at this, you can see that this is a person with a very broad field of interest. Although there's a normal distribution, because you've got some fields that are coming out high, 100%, and others, there's no interest. But it's a very broad field of interest, which is normal for a person in grade 11, grade 10, because they are not sure at this stage where they would like to go. You will get, in some cases, people that know by now already, listen, I want to become a medical doctor, or I want to become that. You will have a very much focused, more focused graph than this one, because there will one or two things will stand out, and the rest will not show a lot of interest. But the moment you have something like this, then the combinations is becoming very interesting. Just look at this one now. You will see in this case, this person has two interests that's coming out 100%. The one is plants and animals. Now, it may be to the plant side or the animal side. I don't know. You will have to, you know yourself. Say, for instance, it's to the animal side. So immediately it shows us towards fields in our Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, because that is where these kind of programs are offered. BSc, zoology, botany, all those kind of programs. So it will lead you to careers within this field. The second one that is very important for you also, your interest, is health support services, and let me take health sciences with that. Now, I spoke about the combination. The moment you think animals, health science, health support science, it can show you towards careers like veterinarian or the veterinary nursing, because the health sciences is like the medicine, the veterinarian, the dentist, the physiotherapist, while the support services is more to the supporting side, like nursing, veterinary nursing, speech-language pathology, audiology, those kind of programs where it's more in a supportive kind of a situation. This can also show that this person would like to be in a career one day where it's about supporting people or supporting animals, for instance, in this side. If you go further, you will see management and planning is also very high up there, 80%. Now, this can mean two things. Remember, this is interest. It can mean management and planning can often shows us towards a BCom degree, combined with the animals can be BCom agribusiness management. Understand what I'm saying? Or it can just be a case that you are the kind of person that would like and would love to manage people one day. So you want to be in a career where you will be the boss one day and you will have people that you are going to manage under, which is going to be the case in any case if you become, for instance, a veterinarian. I'm not going through the list further because obviously in your unique specific evaluation you will focus on the top ones that's coming out as far as your interest is concerned, because obviously you would love a job one day, I believe, where you have these kind of interest incorporated in what you are going to do. Once you've done this, then I want you to go back onto the website, and there we have the details, but as I've indicated, we will also send it to you. You will go to www.pacecareers.com, and then you will click on services, and then on the slide you will see you will click on the next one, get career guidance, and then on browse by field. Once again, we will give you this information because this is now very important. So that will take you, when you go to get career guidance, you will see there's a little button saying occupations. That will give you all the occupations that are available from A to Z. There's hundreds of them. But to make it easier for you, there's a browse by field. So this specific example that we are using now, this person will firstly go to browse by field and he will pick the plants and animals button. The moment he clicks on that, all the careers within that field of interest will come up on the screen. And then he can literally browse through all of them, and if he wants to get more information about a specific career, he will just click on that. And that is the last thing that I would like you to show, because some people are also, they don't think, oh, if I have to go through all these careers, I don't like reading in any case, but now I must still do this. No, it's a very interesting exercise because it's short, it's concise, you're going to enjoy it, and I'm going to show you. There's an example. The moment you click on plants and animals, this will be one of the careers coming up. Ecologist. Now, if you don't know what the ecologist is doing, obviously you will click now on ecologist. Then you will get this information. Short, concise. What is an ecologist doing? I promise you, you will read 2 paragraphs. Then you will know whether you are interested or not. If not, you just skip it and you go to the next one. There's even a video that you can watch about what these people are doing. But say, for instance, this person is now interested in becoming an ecologist. He will read a little bit further. It will give you a little bit more information about what kind of specialization fields are there, because often we don't know this information. If you go a little bit down the page, it will give you the characteristics that the person usually going into such a career must have. You don't have to tick all the boxes, obviously, but you will get an idea. You must have a love for the nature, etc. You will get an idea whether I will fit into this career environment. If you go still further down, it will tell you, okay, if I'm interested in what must I study then? And then it tells you, you must go and do a degree, a BSc degree in ecology. And in some cases, they even give you the tertiary institutions' names also, and you will find the University of Pretoria also there. And what is very useful for me, if you still go down, and you think, yes, I'm really interested in this career now, but I didn't know about this career. I want to talk, I want to job shadow this career. But where do I get an ecologist? Then you just go a little bit down, and then you will see there, they give you the professional bodies' contact details. These people have got databases of all their people. So you just contact them and say, listen, I'm here from Pietersburg, Polokwane. Where's the closest ecologist to me? They give you a name, they give you a telephone number or email address, you contact this person, and you have this kind of a discussion that we have now. And lastly, what is very useful, at the end, right at the bottom, they give you related occupations. Because often you get to a career that you think, I'm interested in this, but that is not really what I would like to do. And maybe you can go down, because now you see microbiologist, zoologist, all these kind of related occupations, and you can click on them again. And in that way, you will make sure, because you are looking for that career, 1 or 2 of them, that will really tick your interest and say, this is what I would like to do. In conclusion, I hope this practical example is going, or exercise is going to assist you. I think it's possible to make a realistic, responsible study choice by finding out what is your career interest, by completing the questionnaire, by looking through the careers in your specific fields of interest, by job shadowing the things that tick. If you do all those things, I can't imagine that it will be difficult to choose a program. Because once you know what your career will be, then it's very simple to go back and to say, good, I want to become an ecologist. Then I can go there, then it's the easy part. What institutions are offering that in South Africa? What are the admission requirements? And I submit my application. And I hope that application will be to the University of Pretoria. From my side, an open invitation from our side, from the university side. We've got a whole team of advisors that can assist you. If you do this exercise, you get stuck and you want to talk to us, you are most welcome. We have online Google meetings with you where we can take you through the process, where we can assist you to help you make sure about your study choice. Make use of that opportunity. And next year, when we are back to hopefully normal again, you are most welcome to contact us for a campus tour. We will take you around the campus, show you around so that you can get the vibe of this place. But at the end, we want you in a responsible study choice that you are going to enjoy and to make sure that you will not drop out. Thank you very much for the opportunity and enjoy the rest of our conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Klaaser. I hope you are all geared up for your career. Now, if you have any questions, please do submit them on the form below, and Dr. Klaaser will be able to answer them for you. Don't forget to also go on our Twitter page, #GearingUp. We just want to hear your feedback about the conference and obviously engaging with you guys accordingly. So it looks like we do have questions in which Dr. Klaaser will be joining me and answering them. So just going through the questions that would be asked. Okay, so the first question is, thank you for joining us, Dr. Klaaser. What career is in demand at the moment?
Thank you for that question. It's a very difficult one to answer. Because, you know, job opportunities, careers that are in demand is a thing going like this. Because you may find that at some stage, I can refer back, for instance, to engineering. At some stage, engineering was highly in demand. And then at the stage, there was an oversupply of engineers again in these fields. So it's very difficult, and that's why it's so important for me. Of course, you must look at money. Of course, you must look at job opportunities and take that into consideration. Fortunately, the degrees at the University of Pretoria are all internationally recognized. So it may be the situation that careers are not many in our country, but maybe overseas. The other thing that we also sit with, often people, if I can take a practical example, they study in Pretoria, they like Pretoria, they complete their degrees, and then they want a job in Pretoria. And then they can't get a job here, and then they say, but there's no job opportunities. But if they are willing to go to another place where there are jobs available in that specific field, they don't want to do that. So in my view, that's why I'm emphasizing the fact that you must do what you are interested in. Because the moment you go into a field that you are interested about, you will be passionate, you will be motivated, you will be noticed. And I just believe the doors will open up for you.
Okay, thank you for that. Second question, does UP offer opportunities for job shadowing, or should the learners just find their own companies to do so?
We don't have a division that can assist you with that, although we often contact the faculties because they have contact in the labor field, so that we can get advice in that regard. But I think, through this program that we are doing now, that I just explained to you, you won't struggle to get people if you contact the professional bodies. I also think by just going on Google, and you just search for firms or for that kind of career, you will get to companies and firms offering those careers, and I believe you will be able to get someone to talk to.
Okay, thank you. When is the best time to do a career interest test?
we're doing a lot of this exact same career interest questionnaire we do with learners in grade 9 when they have to pick subject choices. Because at that stage, we are not so much into the specific career that they would like to do, but rather find out what are the career field, whether it's scientific field or whether it's the humanities field, and then we assist them with subject choices. But then I always recommend that grade 11, the beginning of grade 11 to the middle of grade 11 is actually the best time for me to do that, because the chances that your interest will change a lot, after that, before you have to apply, is very slim. So I think that will be a sensible time to do it.
I was asking, if I don't get accepted for medicine in BCHB and my second choice was BCom accounting, how would I go about changing it to BSc medical science and then move over to the MBCHB?
If you want to apply or to apply for transfer to any program at the university, it doesn't really matter from which program you are going to apply. So in this situation, if you would like to go from a BCom to a BSc with the aim of getting into medicine, it can be done, but that is a thing that we must talk to the faculty about, because it will depend on whether there's space available in the BSc faculty. So it's actually an administration thing where we go to the faculty and say, this person has been admitted for BCom, you want to transfer to BSc, is there space? They will look at your admission requirements to see whether you meet the requirements, and if there is space, they will be able to admit you. And from there, you will then be able to submit in your first year of study, you will be able to apply for transfer to medicine then the following year.
Lusanzi is asking, if it happens that you are doing your current subjects and you want to change your career choice, is it possible? And if so, how will it affect your APS score?
Lusanzi, if I understand you correctly, the APS score is calculated on 6 of the 7 subjects that you are compulsory that you need to take. We exclude life orientation. So previously we had things like designated subjects, where subjects like CAT and tourism, those kind of subjects could not be calculated towards APS. That has changed, fortunately. So it doesn't really matter if you talk about APS score, what subjects you are going to take, as long as it is a 20-credit NSC subject, and that includes CAT tourism, just the same as you have maths and science, then you can calculate your APS score on those subjects.
Musa's asking, he's got an interest in agriculture and computer sciences. So how does he make a decision, as he feels that both careers are just far apart from each other?
They are, and thank you for that one. I'm glad for that question, because that will force you to do some job sharing. Because the only way that you will really find out what you would like to do is by talking to someone that are already in the career, that can tell you exactly what they are doing. From the university side, we can also assist. I often, when people get to a point where they have to decide between 2 programs and they don't know what to do, we invite them to come to the campus and we make the appointments with the lecturers at the specific faculties or the 2 different faculties, half an hour talk with this one, half an hour talk with that one, and I can promise you, once you've done that, you will know which one to take.
Okay, Silo's asking, is it wise to avoid jobs or careers that will be replaced by machines?
Very interesting question. I had a conversation with one of our professors here that's involved, or he's actually the head of our accounting sciences department. We specifically talk about the career of chartered accountants, where there's also the risk, or not the risk, but in view of the 4th Industrial Revolution, a lot of the things that they are doing is going to be taken over by computers. But they told me they are aware of that. And they are proactive in the sense that the whole career is now moving into a more consultation kind of a field. So although the computers are coming in, the consultants to advise people on what they should do, how they should invest, their finances will still be there. So I believe there will be shifts, obviously, in the focuses in the different careers. And once again, it's difficult to answer the question if I don't have the specifics, because if I have the specifics about what exact careers you are talking about, that is things that we can find out how it's going to impact on that specific career.
Okay. Now, if a learner wants to enroll at UP for criminal law, and will they be able to major in criminal law and have a minor in psychology?
If you do in criminal law, you will go the BA law field. Now, the BA law consists of basically 2 degrees. You are going to do a 3-year BA degree where there are some electives that you can pick. So you can pick as part of your subject psychology, and then you will have included your law subjects. After the 3-year degree, you will go on with a 2-year LLB degree where you then will do the rest of your law subjects. So it will take you 5 years and you will get then 2 degrees, but then you will be qualified in the law field, but you will also have this background in psychology.
Now, another question. If a learner wants to go in the field of medicine, or the medical field rather, and they want to leave the country, will they need to write board exams? And if so, will it be for all the medical field programs or just certain programs?
It depends on where you want to go. In most cases, if you go, our degrees in the medicine field are acknowledged internationally. But wherever you are going, there will be, I'm not sure what they call it, but an exam that you have to write on the other side just to qualify then to practice in that country. Once again, now I must tell you, I don't have all the detail. But if you send me an email with specifics about what country you are talking about, I can find out exactly from the faculty what is the implications if you would like to move to that country, and I can give you feedback in that regard.
Lukanya is asking, if you obtain a degree from the University of Pretoria, will it be internationally recognized?
For sure. Most of our degrees are internationally recognized. You can just have a look at the rankings. We are paying a lot of attention also to the QS rankings. According to that, University of Pretoria is ranked amongst the top 1.9% of universities in the world, which is, we are very proud of that if you take into consideration that there's more than 26,000 universities in the world. So if you look only at the rankings, you will realize that our degrees are quite high in demand also overseas. There's a lot of our students going overseas and to further their, their career path also in those countries.
Okay. And our last question for tonight from May. Now, May is asking, is it possible to make an appointment with a lecturer for this year? And if so, how does she go about it?
You're most welcome. You contact me directly. And I believe the email that Marty will also send out to you will have our contact details. What we do is, I will make the appointment on your behalf. It will be a Google online appointment at this stage. But we get someone to talk to you. I will also be on the call, and you will have the opportunity to ask all your questions and get the information together with your parents, obviously, if that is the need. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Pieter Klaaser, for joining us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So now we're going to be introducing Dr. Johan Smith. He is an author, minister, and a speaker. He's very excited about youth development, responsible for parenthood, family relationship, leadership development, and the moral sustainability. With that being said, he's also the CEO of the non-profit organization Vita Amp. He devotes his time towards visiting schools, congregations, as well as organizations and institutions to better the community. Thank you so much for your support of the parents and students this evening, and thank you for joining us for this talk by Dr. Johan Smith.
What an honor and what a privilege for Vita Amp to be part of this seminar. Thank you to the University of Pretoria for investing in our young leaders across South Africa. Vita Amp is an organization that invests a lot in our young people, especially leadership development. So I move and go to a lot of schools all over South Africa. And yes, to be able to reach you in this way and to speak to you in this way. And yeah, this is a lockdown speciality. So again, what an honor and what a privilege. The theme I'm going to speak about is planning for the future, a team effort. So this is all about leadership and team. This is all about collaboration. Let me repeat the topic. Planning for the future, a team effort. Let me start off by congratulating you. Young leaders, parents, yes, congratulations. This is an honor that's being bestowed on you to be a leader in your school. It's really a privilege. So I want to start there. Congratulations. You have learned a lot so far during this seminar, and this is going to be no exception. And I hope this is going to be a valuable investment with regard to your leadership the following, there's about 10 months left of it. So please, if you think it's from January, no. Your leadership has already started. A leadership year in school is usually from August to August. So if you're still waiting to start, to begin your leadership journey, you are too late already. And as I've said, it's all about team, and it's all about team leadership in this session. Why? Because leadership is a team effort. You cannot do it alone. You will never be able to do it alone. Leadership is a team effort. I want to start with a few assumptions. This coming year, you're going to have ample of opportunity to be in the limelight. I've got bad news for you. That's not leadership. You're going to have ample of opportunity to be heard and to be seen. Got very bad news for you. This is not leadership. There will be ample of opportunity to serve others. At last, good news. That's real leadership. There will be ample of opportunity to have the right kind of influence. Listen to this, the right kind of influence. That is to uplift and improve others. That is real leadership. A few more assumptions. You will be looked up to, and people will discuss you behind your back. Not a nice one to hear, but that's a reality of leadership. You will face many challenges. You will be confronted by opposition, criticism, and envy. So, why these assumptions? Why am I sharing this with you? For you to realize you cannot do this alone. You are not supposed to do this alone. You are not supposed at all to be a one-woman or a one-man band. Your success will depend on your ability to build great teams, to be collaborative. Listen to this cheesy, corny quotation. Teamwork makes the dream work. You all know that. My dear young leader, I know it's corny. I know it's cheesy. Unfortunately, it's 100% the truth. Teamwork makes the dream work. I want to introduce you to a person that I'm very sure you haven't heard about up to now. A chaplain in America, Chaplain Barry Black. Now listen to this man's credentials. He's in leadership for 44 years. 27 of these years as the chaplain of the US Navy, and 17 years, that is since 2003, just for the record, he is the chaplain, the official chaplain of the USA Senate. So this man for 44 years is doing leadership, high-profile leadership, and he says the following to you and me. So leadership has become far more collaborative in the later stages of my experience than in the early stages. There you have it. Chaplain Black, in leadership, high profile, top-notch leadership, wonderful leader in the world, for 44 years. Leadership today is team leadership. It is collaborative. A second person that I'm sure you haven't heard about is a person with the name Ken Melrose, the CEO of a well-known organization, Toro. Now, Toro is an organization that is operating in 125 countries all over the world, specializing in the outdoors, agriculture and irrigation and camping and that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, Ken Melrose, the CEO of Toro, passed away during this current lockdown. And I want to share his words with you. When I started working at Toro, the leadership model of the day was pretty much a top-down model. I eventually learned that a much better way to lead was from underneath the organization, where you're coaching and mentoring and serving the employees, trying to make them successful. Young leader, learn from Ken Melrose. I call his leadership style, and that's my own word for it, underneath leadership. Good leadership today is underneath leadership. Let me read it to you again. Where you're coaching and mentoring and serving the employees, the young people in your school, the grade 8s, the grade 9s, the grade 10s, you are a leader and you must be able to mentor them and to serve them and to improve them and to better their lives. That is good leadership. That is team leadership. I call it underneath leadership. I learned that from Ken Melrose. I want to share a short scripture with you. Very interesting fact that I've learned in my own life. Genesis 1, verse 26. I can't take you any further back in the Bible than Genesis, and not even further than Genesis 1. So here it comes, Genesis 1, verse 26. Let me read it to you. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." Listen to these words. Us and our. And we're in Genesis 1 now. If you want to hear God's heart about life, about leadership, it's got everything to do with relationship. It's got everything to do with team. If you're not able to build a team and to work as a team, your leadership will not be effective. Your leadership will not work. Your leadership will not take your school forward. It will not improve the life of others, because it's all about the us and the our. Genesis 1, verse 26. And then I want to read to you the well-known Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 and 10. Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. It's self-explaining. It speaks for itself. Two are better than one. But pity anyone who try to do it alone. You cannot do this alone. You are not a one-man, one-woman band. And please, especially to the deputies, if you cannot work in a team, do yourself a favor, do your school a favor, do me a favor, resign. Because your attitude must be one of working together as a leadership team in the first place. And we're going to get to this in the second section. Work together with your parents as a team. And at the end of the day, work together as a school to improve the lives of everybody in the school. A few more examples from the Bible. When you think about King David, he was blessed by having a friend with the name Jonathan. David and Jonathan, a team. If you think about Paul, at the start of what I call his Christian career, there was another person with him, Barnabas. It was Paul and Barnabas, a team. And then there was young Timothy that teamed up with Paul, the mentor, the older person. So it's Timothy and Paul. The disciples were sent out 2-2. Naomi and Ruth. Go and read the book Ruth. Die boek Rut. Again, a team. And then the leaders of the early church, the first church, John and Peter. Not only John, not only Peter, John and Peter. Again, it's team leadership. The Bible is full of relationships, it's full of team. Read this wonderful quote from the well-known Henry Ford with me. Coming together is a beginning. Staying together is progress. And working together is success. Listen to this one word, together, together, together. Coming together, a beginning. Staying together, progress. Working together is a success. And again, I plead with you, head boys, head girls, deputies, work together and take your school as one school together forward. I want to conclude this first section. My dear young leader, this will be one of your greatest challenges. And at the end, one of your greatest achievements. And that is to build a successful team to lead with you. And now, Mom and Dad, you are the second challenge or opportunity with regard to teamwork. So this is especially young people, young leaders, for you and your mom and your dad. But let me do it correct again. Mom and Dad, congratulations. Your child is one of the head leaders in his or her school. Congratulations. You have reason to be proud. But one of the greatest challenges for me that I'm trying to learn and to teach parents is the right kind of proud. Your child's leadership is a gift. Your child's leadership is a blessing. So the right kind of proud is to be thankful. Not to scratch your head over here because you are this most wonderful parent and my child has performed. That's the wrong kind of proud. Please be proud. And with that I mean be thankful. Here's a few warnings. So I'm going to start with only 3 warnings and then I will move over to a few things that will help you in playing a very important role in this team effort to do leadership as a team. Not only in the school, but the young leader together with his or her parent. But here's the warnings first. Mom, Dad, your child was elected, not you. Think about that one. This is all about your child. This is not about you. A second warning. This is about your child's dreams, not yours. And now you can say, oh my word, he or she's only 17 years old. Let me remind you of Joseph in the Bible. His story started when he was 17 years young. Your child has dreams. Give your child the opportunity to dream. Help your child to dream. This is not about your dreams. Help your child to develop dreams into visions for his or her school. And a third warning. Your child does not have to be the best leader in his or her school, the best leader the school has ever seen. That's the wrong kind of proud. That is the me, myself, and I. That is not to be thankful. Let your child be himself, herself. Live life to the fullest. Dream dreams. Help your child with that. And he or she will be the best leader. He or she can be, must be, in this coming year. Now, what is your role? Let's get to the positives. What are the things that you can do as a parent to assist and support your child? 7 things. Number 1, be thankful. Treasure this gift and remind your child of this often. Just remind your child every day that this is a gift, a wonderful opportunity. God has given you this, my child, so let's be thankful and let's be committed with regard to this. The second thing, with regard to your role, help them to serve, not to shine. Let me repeat this. Help them to serve, not to shine. This is not about the limelight. This is not about being heard, being seen. This is about servanthood. Be the best servant, my child. How can I assist you? How can I help you? With regard to be a better servant, not the greatest shiner ever. Number 3, with regard to your role, dear parent, allow mistakes. Do not try to rescue your child all the time. Your child is 17 years, perhaps 18 years young. Perhaps, I don't know what your age is, but you are old. I am old. A child of 17 and 18, they are young, 17 years young, 18 years young. They are going to make mistakes. Allow it. Let mistakes become their teachers. It's not the end of the world if your child make a mistake. And even more so, it's wonderful for your child to make a mistake and to learn from that mistake, to grow from that mistake. That's the art of leadership at this age. Number 4, your advice and your opinions are welcome, always. But then retreat. And give your child an open door to decide for himself, herself, whether he or she wants to use your opinions. And then number 5, support your child and inspire your child every day. They will become tired. Mom, Dad, it's a very important examination, the end of 2021. And together with this, your child will probably be active with regard to cultural activities, sport activities, whatever, and then leadership activities. So they will become tired. Support and inspire all the time. The second last one, with regard to your role. Have good relationships with their teachers and adult leaders. This does not mean that your car needs to be parked at the school for 4 hours per day. Remember, your child is the leader, not you. But work on good relationship with their teachers and adult leaders. And then the last one, practical tip I want to give you, my dear parent. Help them to dream. And again, this is not your dreams. When Joseph had dreams, it was his dreams. It was God's dreams for his life, not the dreams of his parents or his peers. I want to take you to the book Nehemiah. Nehemiah 2, verses 17 and 18. Before I read it to you, just some background. Nehemiah stood in Jerusalem, and Jerusalem was in ruins. And then we can read verses 17 and 18. This is some of the best leadership you will find in the Bible. Not even in the Bible, you will find in history. So read it with me. Then I, Nehemiah, said to them, "You see the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins and its gates have been burned with fire. Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace." I also told them about the gracious hand of my God on me and what the king had said to me. They replied, "Let us start rebuilding." So they began this good work. Do you hear it? Let me repeat some of the words. We, us, we, them, us, they. It's team, it's relationships all the way. Leadership is all about teamwork, it's all about relationships. Young leaders, at your school, as a team. With your parents, as a team. Learn it from Nehemiah 2, verses 17 and 18. George Shin, I want to read his wonderful quote to you. There is no such thing as a self-made man. You will reach your goals only with the help of others. Let me repeat that last sentence. You will reach your goals only with the help of others. And with that in mind, I want to conclude. My dear young leader, let us start to build. Let us begin the good work. How? As a team. My best wishes on your road into your future. My best wishes for the coming year. Go, go, go as a team.
Thank you for joining us for day 3 of the UP School Leaders Conference. I believe that you've learned a lot this evening and that you've got a lot to take in. Now, just to also inform you, is that please do complete the evaluation session. The form will be at the bottom of the page. Now, this will help us to see if we've got any improvements that we need to make. So please, your feedback is very important. A few days before the start of the conference, you all received an email consisting a list of controversial topics. And you were all asked to prepare yourself, rather put yourself in a session of groups about the topic that you guys will be talking about. So please put on your thinking hats tomorrow, as this is what we will be doing, interacting and just going through the topics that you guys had selected. So thank you so much once again for joining us for day 3. Remember, tune in at exactly 17:55 and the program should be done at 2000 hours. See you tomorrow. Goeienaand. Good evening.